like watching a film that is equivalent to Quentin Tarantino hate fucking a Jordan Peele film. I am not exaggerating. Hey you guys, it's John Guys Cosplay, and I'm back again with another Stitch and Bitch Sunday. If you're unfamiliar with this series, this is where I sit down with you guys and tell you about a terrible TV show or movie that I watched recently while I crochet. We're gonna talk about them. Because this is not it. I couldn't even get to the first episode because it's just that bad. So the show Them is created by Little Marvin and produced by Lena Waithe. The show is basically about a African-American family set in the 1950s Jim Crow era. Yeah, Jim Crow. Good old Jimmy Jim. And it follows the story of Emery family as they basically travel from deep South racism to, West Coast racism. Like, it's really like frustrating to describe because I really don't want to get into great details about it because I don't have to. It literally is just racism with a soundtrack. And also it's just kind of hard to just even describe this because it's so traumatizing that my brain literally right now is trying to fight me to even remember it, because all I want to do is just control alt delete forever. So we follow the story of the Emery family, and they basically travel from the South over to the West, and they get this really awesome job, and they move into an all-white neighborhood. Yes, they move into an all-white neighborhood where nothing could possibly go wrong. And the whole, story is just premised around the fact that the Emery family has to deal with both racism, very real racism, and also deal with racist ghosts. I don't understand the creativity. It's just racism, but make it paranormal. It's just racism, but make it go boo. The very first episode starts off with an old white woman stumbling across this house out in the middle of nowhere, and you have we're having a hard time remembering names because like I said, my brain's just this is too traumatic. Control Alt Delete. But we have this old white woman stumble across this home, and y'all, I'm not even crocheting. Let me calm my nerves. Let me find my peace in these stitches. So right off the bat, we have this old white woman stumble across this house in the middle of nowhere, and you see that the main character, Lucky, aka the wife, the mom, is greeting her and everything, because she's just oh, why are you here and everything. And you just came across my house in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. I don't understand. And the only reason why she even steps outside is because her dog, I think his name is Sergeant. Yeah, the dog and everything is barking at the door and everything. He's just listen, someone outside. I gotta go outside. I gotta go. I gotta go do the dog thing. So he runs outside, and then she sees the old white lady, and she's just oh, hey, it's not like we're in the early 50s where racism is rampant, and you guys are still actively killing me without having any repercussions. Oh wait, am I talking about the past or the present? Shit. Anywho, yeah, so she goes outside and everything. She's just hey, what you doing out here? You lost? And this old white woman starts singing this creepy ass song, which is actually a real song. It's a racist song. I'm gonna be saying racist a lot. And she obviously is gets more and more uneasy, and she's just you need to go. And her dog and everything also was barking at the old white lady, and then eventually runs off. And Lucky is very much just this dog needs to come inside. We all need to go inside. I'm gonna let you know right now that my husband's gonna be home at any minute. And what freaks me out is that her response to hearing this is the old white lady's just oh, the husband, with the other little girl, we know about him. Can I have him? And I'm just excuse you? And Lucky is also and what kills me about all this is that it's not creepy in the sense that it's ooh, scary monster, or ooh, potential supernatural or anything like that. It's just, I can't tell if she's about to get hate crimed or not. I was so pressed and so irritated with this scene, and I was only 3 minutes in. I was if this is the whole show, this season 1 is 10 episodes long. The first episode is 49 minutes long. You telling me I got 10 hours of trauma to go through? Oh, hell no. She eventually, I think, wakes up and we all realize that she was having a nightmare. To which I'm just like, are you having a nightmare or like war flashbacks? Because it's just the racism. It's just so much. And she wakes up in the car and, like, you know, she has her 2 daughters and her husband's with her, and they're on their way to, I want to say it's California. And, you know, husband has, like, you know, a nice job out there. They're getting a house and all that. And she's like, okay, you know, that was a messed up dream or whatever, but I'm going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. To which I'm just like, girl, are you? Because from what I understand, no one's okay. I'm not okay. I don't understand what the direction was with this, but as they're driving, they occasionally like just bring in some anecdotal history where they talk about how there were a lot of, and this is true, there's a lot of black families migrating from the South during Jim Crow eras, like, you know, 1950s, and they moved out into the West and everything, specifically, like, you know, Compton. Yeah, Compton. To which a lot of white people were very upset about. And that's basically, you know, is what they're dealing with. Like, they're following the journey of families before them who have traveled over to the West and had to deal with racism because they were integrating in an all-white neighborhood. One thing that kills me about this is that as much as people are comparing this show to Jordan Peele's films, I don't know why I can't say that, Jordan Peele's films, the actress and everything, her name is Shahadi W. Joseph. She's in this, and she plays a little girl from Us. Like, that whole scene where, like, she opens up her eyes and she's like, yeah, no, that's her. And so when I saw that, I was like, girl, get paid, get your bag. But also, y'all really, you name this them, and then you pull the actress from Us. They moved to an all-white neighborhood, and it's not like, you know, surprising the reaction. I think the only thing I was kind of surprised by a little bit was that the main white woman, I think her name was like Betty, she is the same woman from Scott Pilgrim, who's also in American Horror Story. So as much as, like, I hate seeing her face in this show because she's playing the most racist, like, white woman who has ever whited ever, I'm also just like, I see we getting paid. We see her first, and she basically is, like, you know, the head white lady, where she is in charge of running all the blacks out of the neighborhood. She has done this before. Everyone looks up to her, and she's just a perfect model white woman. And she's, you know, is obviously excited. She's like, oh my God, you know, we got new people coming in next door. I haven't seen them yet. She's telling all the other ladies that, you know, the new neighbors are coming over. And they also live, like, across the street from her. So she's very much just like, I can keep an eye on them if I absolutely need to, okay? I will let you know right now if they're black. So yeah, so she and everything is out there. And they eventually see the black family roll up. And obviously they're upset. The whole neighborhood's upset. Everyone's crowding around the house, and everyone's just like, oh my God, not Negroes. And I'm just like, okay, so is this supposed to be a horror film or a documentary or just trauma? They now realize that they have to run another black family out of their neighborhood, and it's not a white person moving in. We focus back on the black family. And the kids and everything are obviously kind of, like, oblivious to what's going on around them. Like, they're not completely oblivious, but, like, they're not the focus. And the parents and everything are signing the house contract. And what kills me is that the realtor is white, okay? And she is very much just like, yes, this is a nice home. This is a very clean neighborhood. This is great. Like, all you gotta do is just sign the contract here and it's yours. Like, this is gonna be great for you and your family. And I'm just like, bitch, you're white. You're white, moving in this white family into this white ass neighborhood. And what? And on one hand, I appreciate that they didn't make the realtor also racist, but, like, I'm also just like, the bar is so fucking low that if someone's not saying the N-word every 5 minutes, that I am somehow relieved. Like, so as they're, like, you know, letting the kids roam around the house and everything, they begin to sign a contract, and they obviously zoom in on the housing contract that no one of Negro blood is allowed to live here. And the wife, Lucky, looks at this and she's like, so am I legally able to sign this? And the realtor's like, well, you see, we can't legally enforce this, but we didn't take it out, so nothing little red ink can't fix. And the husband is like, so I knew about this ahead of time, but I didn't want to tell you because this house is just so nice. And like, it wasn't that big of a deal anyway, because they can't legally enforce it. And I'm just like, so you're going to drag your wife and kids into this because they can't legally enforce it, but you're going to be the only, your black ass is the only black man here in this all white neighborhood. And you were like, the housing clause wasn't that big of a deal. And it's funny because like her face also describes my feeling, and I think at this point this is going to be my profile picture for like this whole series, because I'm not watching anymore. But the little girl runs off to the basement because her dog is like, you know, running off to the basement, and he's barking at this closed door. And I'm just like, okay, this is supposed to be a horror film. This dog is barking at a closed door. Please don't open the door. Little girl opens the door. I'm over here like, I swear to God, there's a white man downstairs, I swear. Or maybe it's a ghost. If it's a ghost, I'll be relieved. The dog is like barking. Like, he is upsetty spaghetti. And he's so upset by the basement that he actually like nips the little girl. She doesn't get hurt. Okay? We're not doing that. But you definitely tell that he's very irritated. So eventually the parents see her and see the dog, and they're just like, this basement? No, let's just leave this closed. Let's just not. And the realtor, for some reason, is like, oh, you got lucky. You have a basement in this house? And I'm just like, bitch, you're the realtor. What the fuck do you mean they got lucky? And they have a aren't you supposed to know that? The next scene cuts over to the wife, Lucky, with a loaded gun. She's just like, listen, okay, anything goes sideways, I got my gun. And you guys, you feel my American Horror Story series, you know how I feel about, you know, women with a gun. Because Margaret, annoying as hell, but she had her gun strapped at all times, except for when it was convenient. The husband basically explains to his wife that, you know, everything's gonna be fine, everything's gonna work out, we can't keep running away from white people, they can't have everything, you know, they act like they have everything. And she's like, yeah, but they do have everything. Like, they literally act like it because they do. Like, did you not see that housing clause? Like, they do own everything. And I don't know, why this was a thing. But as she's sitting there, basically, like, you know, counting her bullets, reloading her gun, making sure it works, telling him that if anything goes sideways, I will pop a cap in any white boy's ass. Don't ask me nothing. He looks at her and he's just like, you look good when you're pissed. I'm like, no, Negro. Oh, he literally dragged his family into this all-white neighborhood. They don't even know they got a ghost yet. They have racist, like 1950s Jim Crow racists outside their house. And he is trying to hit it because she looks hot when she's pissed. Throw the whole show away. I don't want it. I don't want none of this. I can't return to. This is where the video ends. She's trying her hardest, like she is trying her damnedest to help him be reassured that she is reassured and trusts in him that everything's going to be okay. Now, one thing I did miss, because they pointed this out, the reason why she was up super late reloading her gun over and over again is because when she woke up, there were 5 cars outside and it was midnight, and she was very worried that, you know, they were going to get hate crimed. And he's just like, you know, we have to keep fighting, we have to keep moving forward. Which I understand that sentiment, because, like, you know, I'm black. But I'm also just like, okay, but your wife is clearly uneasy, and I don't know how well this job is paying, but, like, she has some pretty valid concerns that you're just dismissing because you think you could probably, like, you know, push your way through this. And, sir, judging. The KK Karens walking around outside, and they're thirsting over this milkman. And I'm like, this who y'all? No. Y'all could keep that. They have some really weird dialogue about how, you know, he only has eyes for Betty's or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, it's Betty's husband? Okay, cool. Why are y'all so loudly thirsty about him? And she's right there. But basically, she's just like, you know, get your tea and everything. It's going to be a scorcher outside. And what do? They start setting up chairs and tables outside of this black family's home. And they start playing. Let me do it word for word. Bongo, I don't want to leave the Congo. The classic, you know. up there with Sam Cooke. So as they're blasting music, they just start blasting other racially charged music. And the mom is trying to get the girls ready for school, and she's just like, listen, okay, focus. You need to get to school. I am going to keep chain smoking next to my loaded gun. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're going to get through this. The husband goes off to work and everything. I think even while he's there, it's racism in the soundtrack. Nothing about this is enjoyable. That's my issue. There's no horror. It's just trauma. And it's very exhausting. I don't understand the point. I don't understand the target audience for this show. Because I am trying to stay focused. I'm trying to explain to you guys just how bad the show is. But literally, as I keep trying to remember what I just watched, when I say my brain is actively trying to repress and forget what I watched and just the scenes that they had to focus on, it's hard. It really is fucking hard. And I mentioned before that with my Stitch and Bitch videos that I don't want to watch black trauma. I don't want to see black trauma on screen. I don't want the bad part of my movies and shows to just be racism. If I want to do that, I could just read the news. I could just try and vote in Georgia, like, in the next 4 years. The oldest daughter and everything, she goes off to school. We don't really focus on that. She gets her to the bus stop. She goes to school. We're focusing on the mom and the little girl at home. The little girl asks her mom, like, hey, when I go to real school, and she's just like soon and everything. School starts in a few days. And she brings up the fact that she is being taught by this creepy old book called Vera, or this woman's book called Vera, and she starts singing this song to her mom, and the song is that creepy ass, racist ass song from the very, very beginning of the episode. So yeah, and like they try to make it scary, like they do like a red lighting effect, and the little girl acts more aggressive to act like she's possessed or whatever, and it's all very lazy. It's all very boring and uninventive and just uncreative, and it's tired. So eventually that whole scene ends with the little girl basically saying the mom is stupid, but not really her saying she's stupid, but like implying she's possessed or whatever. And the mom ends up slapping the little girl, and she's just like, ow. And that somehow breaks her out of it. And she's just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry I hit you. And she's like, it's okay, Mom. Are you crazy anymore? And the mom is like, no, I'm not crazy anymore. But like, the next scene, she goes into her room and she sniffs a blanket, a baby blanket that was locked in the box that has the initial CE on it. To which I'm just like, how much trauma are you trying to pack into one episode? Is this just the... I hate it here. So yeah, so next scene cuts over to the white families getting together, and it's literally just racism and pastry. It's just racism and a lemon meringue pie. Boys are downstairs, and I think one thing I really particularly hate about this scene, so the women are obviously doing their, mental abuse, and the men are going for physical abuse. And I think it was the milkman that they were thirsting over earlier is kind of like uneasy, where he's just like, oh, you guys are, taking it too far and everything, and we could just do things to annoy them, and if they get annoyed enough, maybe they'll leave. It puts us in a position where we have a voice of reason within a racist group, and you compare that to the rest of the group where they're just like, oh, let's just throw a rock in the house. I don't care if it hits any of the kids. Let's the dog. I don't care if the kids die. Like, it's just, I hate how in this scene, we still see a white innocence that is expressed in a group of more malicious white people. That night, everyone in the black house was asleep, and I think the little girl wakes up because she hears the dog collar jingling, and she's just like, where's my dog? So she goes out and everything to the living room, dining room area, and she sees this figure jingling the dog collar at the table. She's like, Mom, is that you? And I'm like, girl, a girl, y'all got ghosts. That's not your mama. And the ghost eventually, gets up and everything and shows the little black girl her palms, and it shows her that she has V-E-R-A etched into the hand. So it's Vera, the woman from her book. And we see, it's this old creepy white woman that was from the beginning of the movie, and she is a ghost figure demon. I don't fucking know. She's a racist white woman who may or may not be dead. Most likely is dead. I don't care. She's still a racist white woman. And she basically, like, jingles the dog collar enough and gets close to the little girl, and she, like, they do this really weird, like, zoom in where her hands pull forward towards the little girl. The little girl is shocked. She's like, can't really move. She's just kind of petrified with fear. And I'm going to put so many disclaimers with this, because we see these very pale white hands go around the little girl's neck and begin to choke her. And I already knew the scene was happening. Like, I knew what was going to happen before the scene happened, but it still, like, brought tears to my eyes, because I don't want to see a little black kid get out by a white woman, ghost or not. She survives. She gets away and everything. She wakes up the next morning, and her mom notices that she has scars around her neck. And the little girl's like, oh, this Vera got the dog. And they go looking for the dog sergeant, and the dog is dead in the basement. And what kills me about this scene too is that there's so much shock value that it's not even shocking, it's just annoying, because the dog is dead. They spend so much time zooming in on the dog. Like, you already know the dog is dead, but they zoom in on it and they pause for a good 5 to 10 seconds too long. And then we see the kids and everything, they're crying. We see the mom who's just like, oh my god, there's probably a white person in our house. You're supposed to suspect that the white, neighbors killed the dog and everything, because they were literally just talking about that in the scene before. But it wasn't them, it was the racist white ghost. And the mom is losing it, and she decides to go outside with her gun, and she's yelling at the entire neighborhood to leave her fucking family alone. To which, obviously the white neighbors are going to be like, oh, that's all the reason we need to terrorize them now. Like, we were already racist, but now we're going to be more racist. And that's basically how episode 1 ends. I think at the very last minute, the title Them comes up, and it was so fucking unnecessary. Like, I don't know if it was supposed to be them. Like, who is them? That is my fucking question. Like, is them supposed to be the neighbors? Is them supposed to be the ghosts? Is them supposed to be the black people? Like, the title was so fucking lucid that I don't know. Like, if you had to put your title in the very end of the TV show to remind everyone of what they're watching, then you didn't do a fucking good job with the title. If I wanted to watch a black drama series, I would just watch, I don't know, a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like, I keep bringing up Quentin Tarantino because the art style is very similar, and you can kind of tell who the producers and writers are inspired by, which is why I keep bringing up Quentin Tarantino. But the racism is also very much like Quentin Tarantino, which is why his name stays in this video, because it's a very specific kind of in-your-face art style that I really just do not enjoy, like, at all. Like, it's bad. I will bring up Jordan Peele. I will bring up Us. I really do enjoy Jordan Peele's art style. I appreciate how he does take his time, and he is very careful with how he writes horror films, because the horror in his films somehow incorporate racism without making racism the focus. Like, it's kind of an ugly reminder that it's still there, but you're not worried about the racist white people. You just go, oh shit, we got vampires, we got monsters, we got ghosts, we got possessed people, and oh shit, we got racism too. It's almost like you can forget about it for a second. And Jordan Peele, like, his movies have their problems too. They're not perfect, but it was very much a refresher to see a different approach to including black people in horror films. What kills me too is that I don't know who the target audience is. Like, are you trying to get black people to hate watch your show? Because if you are, then you will succeed. Are you trying to get white people to, I don't know, see how ugly their racism is? Because you failed at that. Because my biggest issue with any think piece, social commentary film that equates or uses racism and the supernatural or any kind of fantasy together is that you kind of create a scapegoat with your fantasy where, somehow white people's racism is so unworldly, so evil that it can't possibly be human. It has to be demonic. It has to be Satan. And I hate that so much because it's not demonic. It's not Satanism. It's not otherworldly. It's very much a human thing. It's very much something that white people do, and white people are very quick. They are perpetually, they stay looking for a scapegoat, okay? So yeah, that's my stitching, bitch. I hate everything here. I don't want to be here. I appreciate you guys so much for watching my channel and, you know, supporting me and all that. If you want to help me, I don't know. If you want to help me pay for my therapy after watching this episode, please go to my Buy Me a Coffee and donate a cake. Buy me some cake so I could buy myself something to relax and detox from this episode, because, woo, Lord, child, it was too much. It was too much. But I'm gonna go to